Well, as I've been teasing for a while now, we got another car, and today I want to talk about the latest edition. So let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. So here I am with my 2022 Subaru Crosstrek. This is a beautiful spec car. I can't wait to go through all of it with you and kind of let you see what this car looks like, both inside and out. And I want to just talk about some of the things about it, some of the things I love about it, some of the things I don't like about it, and what brought me to the decision of getting this car. So without further ado, let's take a walk around this car and take a look at it. So this car is in really good shape. It is a 2022, as I mentioned, Subaru Crosstrek. It has 34,000 miles on the clock, so it's got quite a few on it, but it is in fairly decent shape for the amount of miles put on it. Clearly, it was a lot of highway miles, which is not really that big of an issue. They say highway miles equates to about 10% of a car's normal usage in the city. So I do not mind personally having a car with this many miles on it, just because it is only 1 year old. Now, when I looked at the history report on this car lived its life in Idaho. So it did go through one winter, but I felt like one winter was gonna be a little bit of a gamble, but the gamble paid off. Underneath the car is in pretty good shape. There's no rust, nothing major that should be worried about. The body of the car is in really good shape, and I wanna show you a couple things that we did on the outside. So this car had clearly been through many towel dry car washes, and we had to do a little bit of paint correction. I mean, you can tell just looking at the paint, it's still not perfect. There's still a lot of surface scratches on here, and that could probably get buffed out and cleaned up a little bit more, but this isn't my personal car. This is obviously going to be a rental, and I really just wanted to make it stand out a little bit more than it already did. So we did a little bit of compounding, and we used some of the VSS swirl mark remover, and we took a lot of that off. So this, while it still looks pretty scratched up at the surface on the camera, it was 100 times worse than this even before I started it. But that was really all we did as far as the outside. We polished it and we added some of that Avalon King, and it looks really good, especially on the black trim. The black trim really comes out a lot nicer once we add that in. Just to name a few of the features here on the outside, this has steering assisted headlights, so when you turn the steering wheel in certain directions, the headlight will move along with it. So that is a very nice feature. It comes with a lot of different safety features. It does have blind spot mirrors. The light is actually on the inside right here, so when somebody's in your blind spot, there's like an orange illuminated light that comes on right here on the inside. So you can see the Subaru logo, but that only comes on when I open the door. So once I open the door, this beautiful LED light with the Subaru logo comes on. It does have the other standard features that would be safety related. It has a backup camera. It has the reverse sensing system. Reverse sensing system is very nice too, because when you put the car in reverse, the screen will show a box where you are getting close to hitting something. So that is actually a nice feature of the reverse system, other than it just beeping at you and you're not really knowing what is going to be hit. Now moving on into the interior, and we have a lot of buttons everywhere. We have the steering responsive headlights feature to turn off. We have traction control off, auto start stop, and the blind spot mirrors. So we have all of that here on the driver's side controls, as well as your dimmer, obviously, for your dashboard lights. Over here, we have your standard steering wheel controls. We have cruise control. This has steering assisted cruise control, and it also has the adaptive, so you can raise and lower the distance between yourself and the car in front of you. This is your different styles of drive for the engine. And then you have your phone. And then down in here, we have more buttons that control some of the infotainment related stuff. So we're gonna turn the car on here in just a second, and you can see what some of these things do. All right, and so now we have the car turned on, and we're gonna actually shut this door so it'll stop dinging at us. And and you can basically get a gist. We're not going to start the car because the garage is closed and I don't want to have carbon monoxide in my lungs, but you can see it has a nice little screen right here in the center. It gives you a lot of information there. It'll tell you the speed. If we turn on the steering assisted, it will tell you the eyesight feature, which it's disabled right now because of the fact the car is off. You also have a screen right here that shows you a lot of information, and as I mentioned, if I toggle these buttons over here, you'll get different things that come up on the different screens. So this one has that stuff right there. If I push this info button right here, it will change the screen here for me to go to whatever my desired preference is there. This tells you the coolant temperature, the oil temperature, what the average speed of the car is. Now moving on to the radio, really nice size screen. This does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in it as well. It has Subaru Starlink. This car can actually be started and turned off and unlocked from your smartphone. If you have the Subaru Starlink, I believe is what it is, or My Subaru, one of those two installed, and you are able to unlock the car and start the car if you wanted to. This does also come with automatic climate control, so you do have those features as well, and this changes the modes from the face, the feet, the defroster, so on and so forth. And then this allows you to change the fan speed manually. Now down here you just have your standard gear shifter, you have the X mode selector right here, and then you also have heated seats that you can adjust here as well. We have two cup holders, and then if you open right in here, there's a lot of junk in here that I need to clean out still, but there are a couple of USB ports right inside there, and then there's the traditional cigarette lighter as well. I really like the interior of this car, the stitching on the seats, the stitching in the door, the accents near the door handles. It's a really nice look. This is the limited trim. So there are a couple of features that are missing. I think there's one trim above this one, but overall, it's a really nice spec. Up here on the top, we also have SOS should you have an emergency. We have the lane change assist turned off and the pre-collision. If you wanted to toggle those switches, those are available right there as well. And moving on to the back seat, I'm a pretty tall individual, I guess you'd say, almost 5'8", almost 5'9", and the seat's nearly all the way back. And I still have a lot of leg room behind me here, so really nice amount of space back here, as far as left some stuff from Nathan here, but really nice amount of space for the car's size. If you look at it from the outside, it does look a lot more compact, but when you get in the car, there actually is plenty of space in here. Now over in the center, we got cup holders right here, so you can have a couple of cup holders in the back. The only downside back here is there are no USB ports back here, so if anybody wanted to charge their stuff, you would have to put it inside the center console here, but I'd say a small price to pay for the type of car that you have here. I really like what's in the trunk here. These are like little rubber protectors. You got the cargo, and you also have behind the seats here. This does a really good job of protecting the carpet, so you don't necessarily have to worry about staining or anything like that. So definitely something that I didn't have to spend money on, which is great, and the trunk is protected. So something interesting, when I was reviewing, they actually had left the detail report on this car about what was in it, and one of the things that it mentioned was dog hair. So they said that they had to remove dog hair from the car. I couldn't find any initially, and then what was funny was right inside the seats right here, right along these edges, because you can actually pull this back, this is Velcro, and right on the back side of these, it was just absolutely covered in dog hair. So we vacuumed all of that up, cleaned all of it out, and it is looking really good and ready to go. You literally would never know. So we talked about some of the things that I like about this car. What are some of the things that I don't like? This car does come with the infamous auto start stop system, which I'm not a very big fan of in any car, let alone in this one in general. If you push that auto start stop button off that I showed you down here on the driver's side, it does not deactivate it for the entire time that the car is off. It'll deactivate it maybe when you're sitting in that particular spot, but then once you take off and you stop again, there's a possibility that the auto start stop will reactivate itself. So there's no way to really permanently shut this off unless you get some sort of a plug and play automatic disable, which I don't really feel like doing in this case, because other people are probably going to be trying to take advantage of that auto start stop and gain fuel economy, even though I don't really feel like it does that much for it. So two other things that I don't like about this car. I mostly like everything about this car, but there are two things in particular that I definitely do not like. The next thing is this carpet. This carpet is probably some of the cheapest carpet that I have dealt with. I have a Hyundai Sonata. That car has better carpet than this one. I am not a fan of this at all. Underneath these floor mats, there is some dog hair that's under there that literally will not come out because of how rough this carpet is. No pun intended, I guess. But I have never been a big fan of this cheap restaurant style, I'd almost call it, carpet that just has no fluff to it, no major padding, and it is very difficult to clean. And moving on to the engine, there's another part of this car that I really do not like, and the part of it is this design of the engine, the weirdness of the oil change. This is where the oil filter is located, right on the top of the engine, and clearly whoever did the oil change on this car before I got it really did not know what they were doing, because they unscrewed this oil filter and oil just poured out and went everywhere, because you could smell burning oil at least a couple or three times after we had started the car and ran it for a little while. It has not smelled like that ever since. We actually even tightened the oil filter a little bit more, and it's much better now, no issues whatsoever. But that is a total pain. When you go to change the oil, you have to drain the oil pan and allow it to be draining for a little bit. And then when you undo this, the oil will pool along the sides here, and you have to clean that up before you put the next oil filter back on. So those are just some of the things that I don't like about this car. Again, as I mentioned, most of the things in here I really, really like. I really think this is a good car. Just those couple little things that, you know, really you can't do much with it engineering wise. You have to, you know, you could complain to Subaru, but I don't know what one person's voice is going to be as far as fixing those things. But it was a really nice car. When I got it, they obviously had just replaced all the tires. So, and they're all tires that are made in the USA. So really, really good tires. We've driven it quite a bit, and there are no vibrations, no major issues with that. This car's basically road ready. It's ready to go out on its first rental. So we're actually getting ready to go send it out here in the next couple days. Just a little bit of cleaning that still needs to be done before we park it and have it ready to go. But it is pretty much nearly done. Now, what made me pick this car? Number one, I always preach that I try to find cars that have practicality. I'm not looking for flashy, sporty, luxurious cars that people may abuse or people may get into them for the wrong reasons. I'm looking for cars that people are looking for A to B, or they're looking to haul their family in, and that's where this car does come in. Now, I did talk to also our Powerhouse Success Manager, and I gave him a few different cars that were listed, and he gave me some insight as far as what they could potentially do. And so that was super helpful for me as well, as far as making my decision about whether or not this was going to be a good fit. So if you're planning on hosting a car on Turo, I would 100% recommend doing your research before you pick a car. And there is no one car that works in every single market. You need to study your market and decide whether your decision is going to be the best one for your business. With that being said, that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you are visiting Jacksonville, or if you live in Jacksonville and you're wanting to rent a vehicle, go to AtchooRentals.com. We have everything from small compact cars to this beautiful Crosstrek that I think looks amazing. And we still have that beautiful, luxurious, fully loaded minivan for you and your family to enjoy. If you like this content, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. There are more videos that are going to be coming in the future, more Turo guest related videos that are going to be coming in the future. So if you have an idea on what you want me to cover, leave a comment down below. I would love to know what your thoughts are. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.